Hey guys, welcome back. I am Bucket Ponds, and today I'm going to help you identify Dayflower. That's right. It grows very easily in our jar aquariums as well as in the oasis. It makes little blue flowers, which we'll show in a minute, and it's just a great little plant. Now, I know of a few people in the comment section who are looking for this plant, and in specifically within a city. And I'm happy to report that I know of at least a few people who have found Dayflower growing in Central Park in New York City. So it can be anywhere. Don't be discouraged. You can find some Dayflower. You can also get lucky with boxes of wildflower seeds. Sometimes there might be some Dayflower seeds in there. And you might be able to even buy it online. Don't know for sure about that part. But today we're going to walk around. I'm going to show you some growing in the oasis, and we're going to try to find some growing elsewhere in the yard wild. So I'm Bucket Ponds. Please like, subscribe, and let's go check out the video. Alright, so you've seen the Dayflower growing in our jar aquariums quite a few times, but I haven't really shown you the Dayflower growing out here in the oasis. So let's poke around a little bit and let's find some. Oh hey, you might hear some birds and stuff in this video. Please forgive me. I can't control nature. They're around. They're here. So let's just accept it. Alright, so out here near pool pond number 2, which needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But this is one of my best patches of Dayflower. So right off the bat, just take a look at it. Especially this one right here. Get a good look at it. So this is Dayflower. Now it will have little flowers that open usually in the morning. I'll show you a few pictures of those flowers right now. Alright, so here's a good look. Pay attention to these closer ones with the new growth on them. They are very important. And this is going to be essentially how you'll find Dayflower out in the world. It'll be kind of flat, kind of laying down. It will climb some fences and things depending on the species, but it's generally going to grow along the ground and it's going to try to root as it goes. It's kind of like pothos in that every stem has nodes, and every node occurs every few inches, just like that right there. And those nodes can either grow a leaf, a stem, or a root, or even multiple options. Here's a good look at a branch where a node has split into 2 different branches, 2 different stems. And yeah, you can kind of get a feel for what Dayflower looks like. The leaves are very simple, very distinct shape, kind of like an arrow, but not like an arrowhead. Looking a bit further away, you'll start to see some mint in here as well. And you should be able to tell the difference between the mint and the Dayflower. Now at first you might say, wow, they look the same. If you get really close, you'll see that the mint has this whole different structure that flowers are growing out of. The leaves are much fatter, very different shape, different structure altogether. It also has some fur along the stem, some little hairs. The stem is also a different shape. If you were to pinch a Dayflower plant, it feels completely round, like just like a little tube. Hopefully you can see that it is trying to escape the pool pond area and branch out into my pathways. Now that we've seen the Dayflower growing out here at the pool ponds, let's look for some growing in a wild state and see if we can't notice that as well. I'm going to have to poke around out here for a few minutes. This is just another section of my yard. I know there's some Dayflower out here somewhere, so let's look for a few minutes and I will show you. I know there's some growing in my neighbor's yard as well, but I don't want to mess with their stuff. I think we might have found some. Okay, well this is not the best example. This is a horribly abused Dayflower plant. Yeah, this poor plant has been abused. But this is Dayflower. I can tell by the stems, that shape, the fact that they're all branching out like that. The leaf shape, which is very different. This is a different type of Dayflower. The stem structure, very similar. Round stems. Square stems are more of a mint thing. But yeah, this is actually Dayflower. It's being crushed, unfortunately. But this is a type of Dayflower. So we can take a little cutting from this, and we can bring this to our jar aquariums and get it started in there. I'm going to take a pretty good sized cutting though, because I want to make sure that we collect it. Looking more closely, I can see that there's actually quite a bit of this Dayflower out here, all the way up to here. See it reaching out? That's the same plant. So let's get a non-smashed cutting. Well, there's quite a bit of it here. Ah, there's there's an example of the Dayflower giving up on a stem, just abandoning it. Not sure why it does that, but it will occasionally just stop growing a certain stem. But that's fine, we can take this. I'm aware this looks like a hot mess to you guys, but it's Dayflower. And even though the leaf structure is a little different and definitely abused, you can see they're fatter leaves and a lot shorter. But I can tell you that this is a Dayflower plant. There's a little root on there as well. Let's get one or two more cuttings, because that one kind of just came up on its own. I want one that's going to survive and do well. Alright, so here's another cutting. Again, this poor plant is horribly abused, but I can guarantee that this is a type of Dayflower. The stems are very similar. The leaves are close enough to be related, I'm sure. The root growth is very similar as well. You can see those little roots on there, hopefully. But yeah, we'll take this in our other cutting, and we'll put them away for later. Alright, now that we've found some wild Dayflower, I'm going to poke around a little bit in the oasis and show you some more growing in a wild, semi-controlled situation. So this is mostly blackjack and Wedelia, daisies, and other plants, but I'm sure that we have Dayflower in here. This is where I originally captured my Dayflower. In the past, I was pulling all these daisies out, but as it is, there's so many bees and stuff that I can't pull it out anymore. I'll wait till winter. But I know in here there is some Dayflower that I am not actively cultivating. I'm not really watering it. It's just growing wild. Here we go. There's some more Dayflower. Nice. You can see this one kind of looks like a mixture of our two, of the wild type and our other kind. It's a little bit fatter, but again, the same root structure, the same stem shape. And another way you can notice it is that it's actively reaching for the soil, and it's rooting down there. It's trying to escape the oasis due to all the competition from the light. But as always, got some seeds on me. As always, when we get down here and we're looking for plants, or especially when you look for Dayflower, you'll find a little, and then you'll find a bunch more once you know where to look. So there's a bunch more Dayflower. Those stems right there, this one, and this one. And this is rattlesnake weed. This is something else. Kind of cool being down here. There's so many bees and stuff. I don't know if you guys can see that bee right there. But they're everywhere out here. Especially if I stop moving for a few minutes. They love these daisies. But that's some more Dayflower there. And we might even take a cutting. I kind of don't want to, though. I kind of want to let this Dayflower just grow. Yeah. There's some more right here. Good shape of the leaves. You can see this one. The same exact plant can have slightly different leaf shapes, depending on the light and the water. But yeah, I'm going to leave this one to grow. In the winter, it's going to freeze solid and just completely melt, but it will come back next year. I want to show you one more thing back over here at the pool pond, number 2. The Dayflower will reach into the water on its own. I didn't make it do this. It actually originally grew out
And that stem right there, that one stem grew out of the pool pond and did all of this. But it has come all the way, it's come full circle, and it's growing back into the pond on its own. You can see much bigger leaves, much larger leaves, much healthier plant. It wants to be in the water, and it does really well as an emergent plant, as a plant that comes up out of the water. But I just wanted to show you that. That's one more way to identify it. It will generally look for water, wet places.
Well, all right, guys. We have found some dayflower in our garden, which if you have a garden, you might see this type of plant pretty often, at least this plant family. It seems to like disturbed soil, wet places, fertile soil, obviously, well draining soil, but also moist, very moist areas. It likes daylight. But you probably have seen this in your garden. So we have found dayflower in our garden, and we have found some very rough looking dayflower out in the yard, just growing by itself. You can see the difference in cultivated dayflower versus wild. Not all wild dayflower is going to look so rough, but that's a good example. But if you look at the stems, they are very similar, very similar plant, though it can look very different. I know that sounds crazy, but we know that it wants to grow in wet places. It wants to reach into water, streams, places like that. It wants to be wet. You might find it in a ditch or in a culvert or, yeah, something like that. Try to find places that are not mowed very often. Some old lumber laying around your backyard, somewhere you can't mow. That's where I tend to find dayflower growing. Uh, in a park, I don't know. You just have to look around, check the bases of trees. Yeah, check up underneath any fallen logs. You'll once you know what to look for, you'll see it everywhere. At least here where I live in the eastern United States. If you watch the channel, this is the very same dayflower that we grow in all of our jar aquariums. It's literally the exact same, the genetic twin of the dayflower that we grow in our tanks. And that's because I grow it by vegetative growth. It grows out quickly. It grows long stems, make a little cutting, and there's 3 more plants. And you plant them, and then they grow again, and then you make a cutting, and there's like 9 more plants, and then so on and so forth until you have so many. So I actually put this in the pool pond, and that's where it spread around over there. But that's it for today, guys. I hope that I have helped you identify, at least somewhat, uh, dayflower. Even though it looks like a wild weed, it can actually turn into a really cool jar aquarium plant. I'm covered in seeds. Look at that. I'm covered in daisy seeds, blackjack seeds. That's really cool. We'll just plant them right here. If you would like to support the channel, please check out the Patreon below in the description. That'll help me out a lot. You can donate anything, even $1, and those donations go towards growing some plants and playing with some jar aquariums, raising some snails, making the world a little greener every day. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, watch a few videos. That helps me out a lot. And you can also check out the Facebook page, Bucket Pond's blog on Facebook, also linked in the description. I share photos and just random ideas. You might like it. So that's it for today, guys. I'm Bucket Ponds. I'll see you again soon. I hope that you didn't notice my duct tape on my shirt. I had to cover a logo that I should not show on the channel.